Welcome to John Tyler's workshop on resumes. This PowerPoint is courtesy of Ashley Pinney, our Career and Internship Coordinator. So let's get started. Here's an overview of John Tyler's career services. There are many opportunities here that are free to students, so you'll definitely want to take advantage of these resources. John Tyler offers assistance in career planning, different job and internship opportunities. They also offer guidance on creating resumes and applications, how to make yourself most attractive to an employer, and many other things that could aid you in pursuing your career. So what's the purpose of a resume? A resume is the first thing that your employer is going to take a look at when doing an interview. It's going to give them a lot of background on your previous jobs that you may have held and the skills you can offer them. Since this is your first impression, you're going to want to create a resume that's going to pique their interest in hiring you onto their team. So what's the difference between a resume and a CV? A resume is typically shorter than a CV, usually limited to about 1 page, and it is used to apply for most job opportunities that you will run into. A CV is used for applying for specific jobs, especially in educational, instructional, and scholarly roles. Now that we've learned a little bit about what the difference is between a resume and a CV, let's take a closer look at what you should include in your resume. Your resume is going to include information about you, as well as provide your employer any of the education or previous job and work experience that you might have that could help you fulfill your role in the job you're applying for. So before we get started, let's take a look at some examples of the different things that you'll want to include in your resume. Here we have some tips and tricks for writing your resume. You'll want to start creating your resume from scratch. Using a template can hinder your progress by making things difficult to edit. You'll want to use a modern font. Always lead your phrases with strong action verbs. This will pique the interest of any employer that you might go talk to with this resume. Leading with these action verbs will also keep your phrases concise and to the point. Here we have some do's and don'ts for writing your resume. You always want to start with your most recent experiences at the top and then work your way backwards. Using bullet points can make your phrases much easier to read and more concise. You'll always want to read over your resume to make sure there are no errors throughout it, and it can be super helpful to have someone else take a look at this because sometimes we can struggle to see our own mistakes. Make sure you're always saving your resume with your name attached so that if your employer looks at that, they know exactly what the document is related to. Saving your document as a PDF can be helpful when you're sending it across platforms. This can help the formatting to not get messed up in translation. So what do we put in those bullet points? Well, you're going to want to lead with your skills first. This is the first thing that your employer is going to see when they're reading these bullet points, so we want to make sure they know exactly what you can offer them. We have a little formula here that can help you write those bullet points, starting with that strong action verb like we talked about before, which would be your skill. And then what you did. This is your experience we're talking about here. And then the outcome of that responsibility. How did you complete this and what skills did you use to complete it? One thing you want to keep in mind is what the employers are looking for when you're going in for an interview. This is super important because you want to make sure that you have all the information and the documentation that would make you most attractive to these employers. Here we have some skills that employers are most likely seeking. And these are great action verbs to include in those phrases like we talked about before. You want to make sure that the employer can see that you have good people skills, you take on leadership roles and take initiative, and you have good communicative skills as well. Okay, let's talk about brainstorming. So when we are brainstorming for what we want to include on our resume, it can be helpful to research what skills employers are looking for. You can take these skills and write them down and then For each category, list your past experiences with different jobs or internships or places you volunteered at. Here we have listed just a few examples of skills that employers may be looking for. And then your goal would be to fill in the right-hand side with your past experiences. This can be a really great way to brainstorm of the different skills and experiences you want to provide on your resume. This is also super helpful to make sure that you are giving your employer exactly what they may be looking for in a new employee. So here we have an example of what that might look like. So under teamwork and collaboration on the skills that employers may be looking for, you might fill in built 12 houses with classmates for Habitat for Humanity. And this is just an example of what you would want to put under this right-hand column and what it would look like to simulate how you would present the skills you have to seeking employers. If you have any questions about creating a resume or CV or career planning, you are absolutely welcome to email Ashley Pinney at apenny@jtcc.edu. She would love to answer any questions you might have about this. John Tyler typically runs several events where you can come to internship fairs and job fairs. John Tyler will also often have resume writing workshops so that you can come in and get help on writing your resume. If you're ever curious about what John Tyler is offering, you can log on to John Tyler's website and go under the Students tab. Clicking Career Services, you will find a list of all the events or workshops that you might find helpful. Thank you for joining me for this workshop on resumes. Thank you again to Ashley Pinney, our Career and Internship Coordinator, for providing this PowerPoint. I hope you found this walkthrough helpful, and I hope you will check out our other LibGuides where we offer a lot of other workshops. Thank you guys for joining me, and have a great day.